Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. And look, this was a game of two halves, big time. And I know the emotion and the frustration and the overall numbers of recent times have not been good. But that first half was pretty good. So we're going to delve into it. Look, today and this morning now is 5 things that we learned. Later, we're going to go into a lot of detail on the breakdown, and as always, we'll interact with you guys, and we're going to really delve into this game. I know sometimes on the breakdown we'll talk about other subjects. We're going to really focus on the game tonight, and we're going to go into detail because it was a mad one. Really, really mad one. It's look, it's a wretched result, but at the same time, I think it's important that we look at the game as a whole, because it's one of those games where I think Cardiff in many ways can come away scratching their head wondering how they haven't won that football match on the first half performance. But football is not 45 minutes. And this young team got to learn, and they got to learn quick, because that second half performance was horrific. It was naive, and it was a worrying performance in the second half for the first time. But yeah, it is a game of two halves. So let's strap in. And here we go, 5 things we learned. Number 1, Cam Chambers. And look, first up is the captain, and I thought his performance completely encapsulated Cardiff's overall performance in recent weeks, or in his recent performances. He's been really impressive, and I've been very complimentary of him and the way he got his head down after being dropped and blah blah blah, and he's come back and he's really good. But this one, Jesus, mixed bag, doesn't even cover it. At times he was absolutely doing what we'd expect of him. Commanding, good on the ball, defensively, blah, blah. But then there were moments where he left his teammates completely exposed, made strange decisions. It was a weird one. Like in the opening minutes, he had a horrific start to the game. First couple of minutes, he played through... someone played down the, I think it was the right hand channel, and he just completely misjudges it, tries to get in front of the centre forward, and then obviously gets flipped, and they should score from that. And it was just those weird decisions from there. He I think it was the side, the one that went in the side netting. Then very shortly after that, he headed a pass to the keeper, which was slightly short. He really had a shaky start. And it's not good from your centre half anyway, but not good from the captain, the experienced player in the team that day, because everybody else is young in that team. Everybody. And then he recovered. He was good on the ball. He did some good stuff. Got rid of the positional errors. The decision making was a bit better. And then the second half, he just went completely off the rails again in many ways. He left Lawlor exposed time and time again. The worst, maybe gilt-edged, misses like a free header at the back post, which would have changed the games. And he found himself at that back post free, and somehow he heads wide. That goes in, the momentum of the game shifts, and you know, it's a what if moment, that one, big time. As captain and experienced centre half, I expect consistency. I expect leadership from him. And you either guide this team through the rough times, or you contribute to it. But what you cannot do is be a part of the instability. You cannot be a part of the naivety, and you cannot be a part of the poor decision making, because that's not, you know, you're an experienced footballer who's played for England. You're supposed to be leading these young lads, and it was a weird performance. But he did a bit of both. But lesson number 1 is, if everybody's fit and available, I'm not sure he plays still. But I was really disappointed by his performance, because I thought he'd been so good recently, and overall it was all over the shop. But that was Cardiff on the day. It's all over the shop. Number 2, Dylan Lawlor. And like, second thing we learned about Dylan is he has got unbelievable temperament. He's got unbelievable composure. He's got unbelievable future in the game of football. but he is 19 and he's still learning. And this was another one, a game of two halves. Jesus, yeah. First half, unbelievable. Defending, line-breaking passes, the ball carrying. He was a real thorn in Blackpool's side. Ruben was combining well with him and Robertson, and they were just really causing Blackpool a lot of problems. His line-breaking passes was just flipping them around, and it was helping us get in the pockets of space within their shape. And Lawlor was pushing into midfield, and they just couldn't cope with it. They didn't know how to deal with it in the first half. And however, and it is a big however, second half, he was left exposed. And look, the amount of times he was in a 2v1 situation was absolutely outrageous. And then it's like forced mistakes. The first goal for me was far too easy, and I think that's on Dylan. He didn't get sort of tight enough to the shot. He seemed to lose his position a bit about where he was and on the pitch or like in the box. Again, sort of like little mistake, but cost us big, and the sort of mistake you'd expect from a young player, I guess. But it's that kind of break that, and that it was the defensive hesitation because he was exposed again, and I think that was a problem. Was just we defense second half was just we were just exposed time after time after time. Not good enough, really. It was naive. It was bad decision making. I don't put it all on any one player because I thought all of them were poor. Dylan was exceptional in the second half, first half. Second half, just made a couple of decisions, but I think in his case, he was forced into a lot of those decisions because of it was a 2v1, or because they were in and behind and he had to cover. Made some great tackles in amongst it, last ditch blocks and stuff, but he'll learn from that 100%. But it was second half was not what we're used to seeing from him, but I do think there was context to it as well for him personally. Number 3, let's have a slight positive. A glimpse into our attacking midfield and shape, balance as well. And I think this third takeaway is something that I think we can be relatively positive about. In the first half, the midfield shape that we saw start the game, first couple of minutes it was pinball stuff because Blackpool started the way they did. But once we settled, that starting midfield of Robertson, Joel and Ruben Colwell looked as balanced as we've seen all season, particularly in possession. It was, yes, I think, it's a bit attacking. And certain fixtures you need to probably bring Ryan Wintle in for that bit of physicality just to sit in. But for this one, I gave us some real glimpses. On the ball, I thought it was really, really good. I thought Alex Robertson read the game well. He did his defensive job well. And he plays off 2 touches, which really helps the team. And look, we absolutely rained down chances on Blackpool in the first half. On one of the Blackpool radio stations, they were saying, or the commentators were saying that Cardiff were easily the best team they've played all season. And that was something that was echoed in Blackpool's message boards and social medias. And they couldn't believe the capitulation in the second half. But if not for Peacock Farrell, Cardiff could be 3, 4, 5 up even. If they'd all gone in, there was so many good saves by him. Not just straight at him, good saves. And we just couldn't get it in the net. But with that midfield, what we saw was some fantastic one-touch passing, rotations. Now the narrative will say Cardiff were dreadful, they lost 3-0, 3-1. They weren't dreadful for the whole game. It's weird because I think the first half was as good as we've been all season. Second half was the worst performance under Brian Barry Murphy. Ruben drove down the left in the first half, did a low cross, and moments later he had a couple of shots. Robertson had shots, Joel and Ruben linking really well. Little 1-2s to get Kian and Joel down in behind, Kellyman in behind. We cut open Blackpool and got in behind Blackpool more than we have any other team this season. We just didn't convert that dominance into goals, and we didn't get a result. And ultimately, that's all that matters. But in terms of going into the winter and the Christmas period, going into the rest of the season, that first half is at least encouraging that midfield looked good, because that was the basis of everything. And it is a bit attacking, and with you got those three plus Dylan pushing into midfield. But there's certain games that'll work. Home games, I think I would go with that midfield. Certain teams against who are going to play, go with that midfield. And then you just drip in Ryan Wintle when you need him to. Why he didn't come on, I don't know. He's on the bench. I know he's been carrying a bit of a knock or an illness, but he's on the bench. So, for me, he should, really have come on. Don't really understand what David Turnbull's offering at the moment. We didn't convert our dominance, as I say, and it's a tricky balance when you're judging it. But if you don't score goals, you can't win games, and if you don't keep clean sheets, you ain't going to be keeping points. My birthday wish will be we see this midfield at home and in fixtures where we're expected to dominate possession, and then I think we'll see a shift to some real aggressive goal-scoring football, and then you bring in Wintle for the more solid games. But today we learned we can play some exceptional one-touch football, but to win football matches, got to score goals, got to be clinical. How many times we said that recently? The other day Matt mentioned about a striker in January. It wasn't something I'd thought of. After seeing us miss so many chances again, and after seeing Robinson's performance off the bench, I would either hope that we're going to sign a winger who's really, really quick and skillful and move Isaac into the middle, or we're going to sign a striker on loan for the rest of the season. That's how I feel at the moment, but I don't think it's necessarily our most important need. But equally, don't score goals, we ain't going up. Number 4, Ian Evatt won the tactical battle. So fourth, and perhaps this will sting a little bit, we learned that Blackpool's Ian Evatt had a clear plan. As we discussed in the tactical showdown, he was going to be aggressive from minute one. He was going to start really fast. He was going to get up in the channels and up to the strikers, and they were going to try and work around there. They did that, and they troubled us. Barry Murphy got his in-game management wrong for me, if I'm being honest. I mean, everyone knows I'm a big fan of his, but I thought he got it wrong yesterday. In-game, Blackpool started fast, they pressed high, they played in the channels, and City in the first half played into that, and as they grew into it, they got more comfortable, and they were superb then. But after half-time, and Blackpool were ahead, they just grew into that structure, and they wanted to play on the break, and they did it really, really well. We changed our shape really, really, really early to 4-4-2. Way too early for me. We were just cut open then on the try. Every time we lost the ball, they almost had a one-on-one chance because we were too open. One ball in front of midfield or into midfield over to the striker, and we were just left exposed because we were all over the shop. But the change in shape, Alex Robertson going off, I understand he's not match fit, but then Wintle should have come on to give us a base, because we were obviously chasing the game and chasing goals. We needed somebody to sweep up. God, put Osho or Fish on and move Chambers or Osho into the 6 if you want to take Robertson off and protect him. But Callum Robinson, I thought, had a real quiet game. Turnbull offered nothing again, and you got Wintle sat on the bench. I thought Isaac did all right off the bench. He tried to make things happen, but ultimately the manager's in-game management, we've given him a lot of praise for his subs winning games over the season, but yesterday he didn't influence the game in the positive, and actually left us a bit exposed. That midfield tweak that we saw against Wrexham recently with the number 8 being a bit deeper has disappeared. I need to see that back real quick, because even in the first half, the transitions were scary. how we lose the ball and the opposition is almost through on goal because we're so aggressive. There's got to be a balance there. And then we just left ourselves wider and wider open as the game went in. And in the transition, which is the literal game plan of Ian Evatt, it was like attack versus defence, but they had more attackers. We were out of position, we were vulnerable, and BBM's got to take big responsibility there because second half, whatever the plan was, he got it wrong. It's okay to change in game, and you've got to be brave as a manager. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the timing, the shape shift, it all cost us yesterday. So the lesson is probably, I don't know, tactical preparation, in-game management. I don't know what it is, but Ian Evatt definitely won the day, and he deserves the credit because I thought his game plan was superb. We learned we got to be sharper, more aware of the opponent's second half shift. Got to do better off second balls, and got to do better on the transition when defending. Right, lastly, I'm going to finish on a positive. And I did have a little look at the first half again, just in case I had like a false memory of it, because I just thought we were so good in the first half. And we were. So let's end on a positive, right? Because it was brutal yesterday. From about the 10th minute to around the hour-ish, Alex Robertson was excellent. He read the game, he made interceptions, he played off 2 touches, he nearly scored, he encouraged his teammates, he played lovely pass and move football with Ruben and the wingers, and he just kept turning it over. And you know, he's not quite up to speed, match sharpness and fitness wise, but he's getting there. Ruben Colwell, same thing, did everything but score. He was a class above in that first half. Honestly, unbelievable. They just couldn't cope with him. And then the fact he couldn't get a goal just kind of says it all about yesterday. If we can regularly, and Dylan Lawlor, by the way, same, he was unbelievable in the first half. And if you can get that spine of them three and Salic, get them playing at the levels that they're able to play, you know, we're going to get more wins than not. But we've got to take these chances. I hate to say it again. But the combinations of blue shirts and the rotations off the ball was unbelievable with those Robertson and Ruben and Joel. Got to regularly get that. And you can't, you know, the game's not 45 minutes, it's 90. It's not an hour. And you could say it's like 96, 97. We've got to play that type of performance for full games. We will definitely be giving a team an absolute spanking soon. You could see the way we're playing at times. It's just a delight to watch. And the finishing side of it will come. Me personally, I'm getting Isaac in the middle because I think Robinson looks like I don't know, and I'm not, don't mean it personally. He just looks like he's pissed off about not starting. Salic, I thought, had been really good recently, but then yesterday I thought he reverted back to what he did at the start of the season, where he was just more interested in fighting the defender than just holding the ball up, getting off it and flicking off. I think it's difficult when the defender wants to hug you constantly, but you know, we know the referees are not going to give anything. We have to bury the chances. Let's say it again. If we do, can you imagine if we just Salic and Robinson just find their fault and they're just clinical like we thought they were going to be this season? God, we'll just give teams spanking because we create so many chances. Their keeper was the man of the match. Although I hate to say it. What did I say in the tactical showdown? George Honeyman will be the key. Fuck. Hate being right. But there you go. That's your 5 things. You had Chambers just all over the shop. Lawlor, first half, phenomenal. Second half, trouble. Midfield shape was decent in the first half. That's positive. Tactical battle was won by Ian Evatt. And then lastly, we had a couple of positives with Robertson, Ruben for the first sort of 45 minutes to an hour. It's look, it was a steep learning curve for this young team. Take your chances, And never, ever, ever be naive enough to think that any team in football will not bite you in the ass if you don't do your jobs properly. And that goes for the manager as well, by the way, not just the players. Today, first half, very, very good. Everything but a goals. Second half, unbelievably, horrifically naive and poor. Move on. Repeat the patterns that worked. Fix the mistakes that cost us. And take your bloody chances. Brian Barry Murphy got to learn, of course. The midfield tweak that has worked recently got to come back. But we didn't take our chances. We weren't clinical, and we paid for it in spades. Football. Bloody hell. Nice one. I'll see you tonight for the breakdown. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Thank you so much, as always. Take it easy, and I'll see you in a bit. Nice one. This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans. Balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.